What is going on today, guys? So this is just a quick little video to kind of put out some information and hopefully encourage you guys out there, whether it be for this or for just all the other things that I think a person should be prepared for, to try and get you to be a little bit more prepared in your daily life. I used to do a whole lot of prepping videos all the time, a bunch of old prepping videos on my channel. You can go back and watch any of those. Haven't done them in a very long time. And I think what is going on with the new coronavirus, or what do they call it now, COVID-19 or something like that, has, you know, even though I never stopped prepping, it's kind of gotten me into the headspace of, yeah, this is exactly why you should prep, because you never know what's going to happen. And it could be something as simple as, you know, losing your job, and you need to make sure you've got food and water and basic things in the house so that what money you do have you can pay bills with, so you don't lose your house or your car or whatever else. Or it could be a natural disaster. Look, I live in South Texas. Hurricanes are a real thing. Flooding, that type of stuff. Could be an earthquake. Could be fires if you live over on the West Coast. You know, tornadoes, whatever it might be. You should be prepared for everything. And I think with the coronavirus and everything that I've been really reading into, I mean, I've been looking up this stuff and really listening to what the WHO and the CDC and a lot of these people have been saying, and some of the scientists and some of the doctors that were in China when this thing first started popping off, which was back in December, and I first started talking about it around about the beginning of the year when they didn't really know what it was yet, or at least that's what China was saying. The WHO at the time didn't know really what it was yet. And you know, I think it's gotten to the point to where this is something that, at least on a base level, you should be at least a little bit concerned about. I'm not saying to panic or anything like that, but it should be incentive for you to, you know, take some steps. Have some extra food in the house, some extra water. Take some steps just in your daily life when it comes to sanitation. Simple things like not touching your face when you're out and about until maybe, you know, you have a chance to wash your hands. Carry around a little bottle of alcohol. That's what I do. I have a little bottle of alcohol that I have in my vehicle. So every time I get back in my vehicle from having gone someplace, wherever that may be, whether it's work or the store or whatever, just spritz a little bit on your hands and give them a rub down. It's actually more sanitary than the little sanitary gel stuff. That gel stuff actually leaves a coating on your hands that can actually attract more dirt. Even when you feel like it's dry, there's a thin film on your hands. So just using regular alcohol is actually more sanitary, better for you. Simple things like that. But I also wanted to take this time, not just to say, you know, you should be prepared, but talk a little bit about what's going on with the virus itself and why I would make a video like this when a lot of people out there really are ignoring this and just chalking it up to, it's another bird flu or swine flu or SARS or one of these other things that, you know, we heard about, and there was a little bit of panic, and then it ended up, at least here in the United States, nothing happening, right? Why are people more concerned with this? Well, first of all, I want to read off to you, which I've written down, the things about this virus that make it, well, I mean, potentially something you should be worried about. First of all, they just recently raised the incubation period for the virus from 14 days to 24 days. That means somebody can be sick with the virus, but be asymptomatic, in other words, showing no signs of actually being ill for more than 3 weeks. Now, that's on the outside. That's in very rare cases. Most cases tend to be around 10 days. That's still a week and a half that you can walk around in public, going places, interacting with loved ones, talking to family, giving your kids a hug and a kiss, and not know that you're infected. And the other kind of aspect that plays into this is during that time, you're also contagious. It's one of the very rare things about this virus. It has a very long incubation period where you are asymptomatic, but you are contagious, and that's a dangerous thing. The other kind of things that about this virus that you need to be concerned about, or that might, you know, make you, you know, think a little bit, the fact that to this point, people who have gotten this virus and gotten over it their bodies are not creating antibodies for this virus. In other words, there have been people that have gotten sick again. And when people get sick again, it's worse the second time. That means our bodies are not attuned to be able to deal with this virus as it is. Now, I want you to really think about that. And think about that in the context that Wuhan, where this started, is actually the location for one of China's largest research facilities, biochemical research facilities. Now think about that. And now I'm going to go into Alex Jones' conspiracy theory for a minute. And this is because this is something that we've heard people speculate who work for the CDC, the WHO. This could potentially be where this virus started from, not bat soup, as so many people have tried to say. Is that, imagine, if you will, you are a large, powerful nation, and you are always, as I'm sure we are, and Russia is, and everybody else is, you're always toying around with bioweapons, with things that could potentially, be unleashed on an enemy. What are some key characteristics you would want in a bioweapon to make it something particularly deadly? How about a very long incubation period where you are contagious the whole time, to where you could get maximum exposure to other people, to where a person can go around spreading this for potentially 2 to 3 weeks without knowing they're sick, and all the while they're getting other people sick along the way? That would be very attractive in a bioweapon. Also, the idea that this is something that the body cannot make antibodies for, at least not right now, and something that seems to be very difficult for them to find a vaccine for, would also be very attractive. And what would you do while trying to do that research to see if you could develop a virus that could do that? Well, you wouldn't try and turn Ebola into that type of thing, would you? No, you'd test it on some innocuous little virus, something not too dissimilar from the cold, which is also a coronavirus. You would test it on primarily something that has a low mortality rate, because you wouldn't want to immediately begin testing on something that's ridiculously deadly. You would develop it and try and test this and try and tweak a mostly non-fatalistic virus into what you want it to be, and then you would go from there. And of course, that is exactly what we're dealing with here. Now, that's not to say that what's going on with this coronavirus, this COVID-19 or whatever they're calling it, was for sure developed in a lab and was some, Chinese bio-research test. We don't know. But it is very suspicious, and there are a lot of people who have actually been speculating that. But the point of this video, as I said at the beginning, is to get a little prepared, to have some of the information I think you guys need to know to really think about this in the sense that it needs to be thought about. This is not the common cold. This isn't even the flu. And while the flu actually, at this point, has a higher mortality rate, if this gets out, it has the potential to infect so many people across the world that so many more people will die from this than will die from the flu. And especially when you factor in the fact that a person can get it more than once. And when they get it that second time, it tends to be much, much worse than the first time they got the virus. It really is something I want you guys to think about. I want you to pay attention to. Again, I don't want to fearmonger or freak people out or anything like that, but I think you do need to know these types of things so that you can help prepare yourself and your family or your friends or whoever, just in case something happens. I mean, I heard somebody from the CDC say that they believe that there is a good chance that there could potentially already be thousands of people, 1, 2, 3,000 people in the United States, based on just travel before anybody knew what was going on, that already have this, and they just haven't become symptomatic yet. People who were traveling long before there was a ban, before anybody knew about, quote-unquote Kung flu or any of this other stuff, right? Long before that, people travel to and from China every day by the thousands in this country. Every single day, thousands of people travel to and from China. It's something that you want to think about, especially given the fact that this is a virus that can not manifest itself, that can incubate for more than 3 weeks in somebody. And if you think about that, it was just about 3 weeks ago that we really started getting news on this. It was less than 2 weeks ago that they finally stopped flights. There could still be people right now in this country who are walking around, touching things, shaking people's hands, clearing their throats, maybe coughing, maybe sneezing a little bit, that don't understand that they have this. And again, this is not a hugely deadly virus, but it has high potential to spread to an enormous amount of people all over the globe. So keep that in mind. Check your preps. Do you have food? Do you have water? Do you have a little extra cash? Do you have the things that you think you would need if for whatever reason you needed to stay in your home for 2 weeks. Do you have what you need? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be, whatever you feel comfortable with. Do you have those things? If you do not, I would urge you to please start working on getting those things locked down now so that you don't find yourself caught in the middle of something unexpected and you don't have what you need. So that's it, guys. Take it easy.